absolutely beautiful day here in South Georgia. So why show you the doe whipping her nose up, smelling me, turning her radar dishes? Why show you that first? Probably a strategy, to be honest. You know, we look at what the videos do, and typically it's like after 3 seconds they just drop off. And I guess, and I really don't understand this, but I guess people, they scroll or something. It's not my thing. And I just kind of think it's humorous, because for me, when I go online and look at things, it's to learn. I want to learn. I want to research a YouTube video on, how to fix a whatever on something that's broke, or it doesn't matter what it is. And I think back to the simple basic things of our educational system. A teacher handing you a book and say, here, you got 3 seconds to learn something. I'm like, seriously? So maybe showing you the doe first will captivate you long enough to stay with the video past 3 seconds. That's my theory. We'll see if it works on this one. But it is a beautiful day here. Yesterday was about 90 degrees. Big temperature drop, cold front coming through. We're at 55 now. Supposed to be at 30 tonight, which is like crazy stupid for us. Everything is buzzing in the woods today. I mean, the deer, the squirrels. I had a woodpecker just hammering it out a while ago. But on that video, when you're looking at that doe lifting her nose, the deer got it figured out. And that's mostly what I do to come out here. Yeah, I'm a hunter, but I come out here just to watch them. She's not wearing perfume or cologne or fabric softener or some strong deodorant. She's not wearing anything, because it blocks those senses of her ability. She's trying to detect the enemy. Unfortunately, I'm the enemy. And I'm not really that big of an enemy. Actually, I'm a huge admirer of deer. One of the hardest things for me before I retired is when I would go to the office and I'd have to get on the elevator. The elevator was hard for me, so I started taking the stairs. Why? I couldn't stand the perfume, fabric softener, deodorant, coffee, all the chemical crap that you would smell. I want my nose to work. This little path right here is where I run 3 days a week, and I can run and I can smell deer. If I run, I'm like, yeah, there was a deer just came through here, and which is pretty cool. But when you look at the baseline of trauma, the baseline of where do we get wrapped around that axle, and do it on your own personal thing. I'm not an expert, just Josie's theory is generally you yourself have digested that particular traumatic event through one of your senses, and that's the strongest. So whether it be your sight, your hearing, your taste, your touch, it doesn't matter. And when you listen to people talk, and that's the hard part when you're doing like peer support work, is that you have to listen to them. And you've got all this advice and theories, just listen. And they're gonna say, well, I heard this, I saw that, I felt this. Very brief, tiny story. I knew a gentleman once, still friends with him. Hopefully he watches the video. A firefighter gave CPR to a young boy who, had done something with grapes. Grape Kool-Aid, grape popsicle, doesn't matter what it is. And guess what? I don't know, a year later, he's doing something with grape something. Boom, there it is. And that's where, I talk about, like, you get into briars. And some of you people may not know what briars are, but you get into briars and they stick to your legs. That's how trauma does. It figures out how to stick to your legs and it grabs on. And so I don't wear any no-scent anything, because I want my nose working 24/7. I want it working for me, not against me. The good Lord, and we're going to talk about that, the good Lord set us up with a whole bunch of stuff to help us work through things. And it's not its fault, meaning the brain's fault, that it goes, hey, you saw that, and the next time you see something close to it, all the senses kick up, your blood pressure goes up, all the above. It's doing its job. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're messed up unless it's you can't function. When you can't function, yeah, you probably need to get that looked at. But it's just a little reality rock that hits you and you say, yeah, I've been in this situation before, but it's different. So hopefully, down and dirty, short video, gonna buzz you around. Really, really neat spot here on the farm. Unfortunately, right behind us we thin pines, and it looks like a hurricane came through, pissed off at the world, like, I don't know, like a bad childhood. But it'll get better. It just has to decay and go back to the earth and make the trees go stronger. So hang on. So right over there is where that doe was at. And she just literally worked all the way around me. Went up through there. Now, unfortunately, that's left from thinning the pines. That's just where they're cutting the tops out. And then they drag the bigger pine trees up to what they call a loading ramp and put them on a log truck. But my little trail comes down through here, circles around, heads up that way. But sun's trying to pop up. So who am I today? Well, I stayed at the cabin last night. This video is like ass backwards all the way around. But I stayed at the cabin last night, just me and the baby. And normally when we stay there, if the youngest boy's there with me, we fold the futon out and they sleep on that futon together. And the baby likes the cabin because that's the only place that she can get on furniture. And so last night I get in there, and, I said, hey, let's go to bed. And she just looked at me like, seriously, on that thing, you got to fold it out. You got to turn it into a bed for me. So we all like a routine. So I had to fold the futon out so she could rack out and have a whole gigantic, I don't know what that thing is, queen size, full size to herself. But I'm thankful for all that today. I mean, waking up in a cabin with no running water or electricity, and for a lot of people that's hard to wrap their heads around. Come out here, watch the sun come up, and just take it all in, man. I'm gonna be out here tomorrow morning, and it's gonna be really way too cold for me. So I want to cash in today when my hands ain't hurting from the cold. But I hope the video helps some of you. I hope you understand that. When you're looking at your own situations, and it doesn't matter what it is, one of those senses, in my opinion, is digesting something. And it may not have digested it real well, but it took it on really, really hard. And it's almost in every circumstance. And it could be a 10, 15 year split span, delayed reaction, And the biggest thing that I have to tell you is that when it hits, and it always hits at the most inappropriate times, you have to generally tell yourself that, hey, yeah, but it's different now. And you don't have to be a first responder or a military person. We all have trauma. It happens. We have a little minor accident in the backyard. A loved one just dies in close proximity to us from an accident or, health problems or whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, it really doesn't. And the focal point always seems to be, the first responders and military people seem to be in constant view of it, responding like your paramedics who are constantly, maybe 10 calls a night, bam, 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 stacking up. It's really hard for the brain and the soul, the emotional system to digest 10 in a row. It just ain't really wired for that. And that's where help is needed, severely needed. But for your average person, we all experience it. And just because you experience it more doesn't mean you're better at digesting it. It really doesn't. It just means that we all need a system. And I've written about that for years. We need a system to process. And it doesn't matter if it's conventional, meaning my system is probably not very conventional, meaning mainstream, but it works for me. And that's what matters. And I always say, as long as you have a system that doesn't hurt others and it's relatively healthy, then it's a system. So with that being said, I got to roll because I want to just take it all in today and let my senses do their job and not be handicapped by a bunch of man-made junk. Y'all take care.